Hello friends, the 12th of October 1972. A small chartered aircraft took off from Uruguay, South America. This aircraft was going to Santiago, the capital of Chile, carrying some rugby players, tall and broad. There were 45 passengers in total. Some of the players' family and friends had tagged along. This flight was not going to be long. Usually, it takes only 3 hours to go from Uruguay to Santiago. But on the way, you come across the huge Andes Mountains. The Andes mountain range in South America is the world's longest mountain range. Other than the Himalayan mountains, the highest mountains are found here. These beautiful mountains become devastating for the passengers in our story. That day, on the 12th of October, there was a storm in the mountains because of which the plane couldn't keep flying. The pilots then decided to stop midway and try to fly again the next day. The plane landed in Mendoza, Argentina for the night. The next day, on October 13th, the plane took off again at 2:18 p.m. The pilots ensured that the weather had cleared up. So it was a smooth sailing flight for the next hour. At 3:21 p.m. the pilots start descending the plane. The plane was quite close to Santiago but was still in the mountains, since there are high mountains right to the city. While descending, suddenly there was terrible turbulence. The plane started shaking horizontally. Around this time, clouds gathered around the plane. Nothing was visible except the clouds. Suddenly, the alarms in the plane went off and the warning lights began to flash. No one could understand why. The rugby players in the passenger seat weren't scared. They didn't take this turbulence seriously. Amid jokes, a passenger looked out of the window and saw the clouds clearing up. But then he noticed that they were perilously close to a mountain. As soon as the aircraft moved out of the clouds, the pilots realized that they were moving towards a huge rock. Immediately in a panic, they tried to lift the plane up. The aircraft's ground collision alarm was ringing loudly. Pilots put in maximum power into gaining altitude to fly over the mountain safely. But unfortunately, it was too late. The rear of the aircraft collided with the mountain while going up. The entire rear portion of the plane separated. The 2 rows of seats at the back literally flew out of the plane. 3 passengers flew away with it and disappeared. The plane kept flying upwards for a few more seconds, but then suddenly, it started to fall down. After a few seconds, another collision happened. The left wing of the plane broke. Some more passengers flew out of the plane and fell down. Now, only the front portion of the plane remained, and it fell into a glacier. It slid down the glacier at a speed of 350 km/h and finally, it crashed after dropping 700 meters. Everything in the plane was destroyed. The passenger seats were torn apart from the base of the plane. The cockpit of the plane was completely crushed, and the pilots were killed immediately. This aircraft lay broken on an unknown mountain in the Andes at a height of 3,570 meters. Surprisingly, out of the 45 people on board, 33 were still alive. They had somehow survived this crash. The problem was that many of them were injured, and no one knew where they were stuck. It was later found that this plane was 80 kilometers off from its planned route. And this painful story of survivals. Thanks for watching. For more interesting videos, subscribe our channel.